Okay, good evening. Magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome ho sa ating program. It's a Thursday. Happy Thursday ho ngayon. Ayan. At pagka Thursday, syempre, Immigration Corner ho ngayon. At dagdag kaalaman na naman ho sa ating lahat dito ho sa ating programa na Immigration Corner. Syempre, hindi naman ako ang pinaka-eksperto rito. Ano lang ako rito? Kumbaga ako'y co-anchor la. Dahil syempre, taon yan years of specialization of study to become an expert and knowledgeable in the immigration matters Okay, well, tonight meron ho tayong topic ito medyo ano ho to i-specify sa akin mga first tier to, hindi ho hindi yan ang ating topic. Ano ba yung napindot natin? Hindi yan. Ito ang ating topic. Ito, yan, dati yan. Kasi overstaying kasi, we talked about having this parang more or less extended discussion about the immigration. Itong overstaying, I should say. Kaya yan ho ay pag-usapan na ho natin dati. Kaya na-flash pa natin. Anyway, teka muna. Nawala ako Bakit ba ako nawawala? Ayan, mukha yatang tapos na ang tawag dito, All Souls Day, Andito pa tayo. Medyo Okay. Ito na. Papakilala ko na ho, mga kaibigan, yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, Pagka Thursday, happy Thursday. At I'm sure kayong mga nandiyan pagka dumarating ang Thursday, napapangiti kayo because we bring such dala namin. Parang natural, may smile sa mga mukha ninyo. Ayan na naman, may immigration na naman, magkakakwentuhan na naman. Ayan. Ito ho, walang iba, syempre yung ating pinakamamahal na abogado, walang iba kundi si Attorney, Lira Simon CABATBAT. Attorney, magandang gabi sa iyo.
Hello! Hi, Sonny. Happy Thursday po sa inyo lahat.
Yes, happy Thursday na naman. At magkasama na naman tayo at nakakatuwa naman at ito na naman, another interaction and discussion about immigration na naman sa araw na ito. Kumusta? How was your week? Meron ng mga vaccines ngayon, 3 na yata, di ba? The last time we've spoken, kailan ba in-announce yung bagong vaccine? Was it last week pa, yung AstraZeneca? Or was it...
I think last sa pa lang, Tapos this week nga, nadagdagan ng 2. So, I think that's right.
Tatlo na. Nauna muna yung Pfizer, followed by Moderna, followed by this Oxford, AstraZeneca, Or,
yun na po.
Bale. Yun. So, pagka yung dumaan sa mga regulators, okay na. Looking forward ka ba, Attorney?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. No, I mean, about time. It would be talaga, ito, 2020, for many people nga, has been a horrible year,
Yeah.
It ranges really from job losses, health issues, and of course, fatalities, So truly, I cannot, November na tayo, so next week, December na tayo, I really cannot wait for 2020 to be finished,
Oo nga. Yes. Yeah, well, actually, totoo yan. Well, kaya ako naman natanong kasi sa iyo because, yes, we somehow, the government said that by, kung medyo things would go, wala masyadong hitches or, maganda pagkaka-distribute siguro, hopefully by Easter, medyo, hindi totally normal, malang normalcy talaga, pero maski paano, balik na yung mga jobs, balik na yung mga businesses makaka-operate ng kukonti, ng maayos, kukonti o medyo may konting rather than now 0-0, di ba? So, pero may mga anti-vax yun naman ng So, ikaw, would you have it? Would you not have it? So.
No, I would definitely have it. I'll be first in the queue,
Tama. Okay.
No, I think it is it's great na nangyari nga ito, and this is still nga this year they've done very well, 10 months, about to have come up with this. I find it dangerous nga mga anti-vaxxers that you don't want to put people off, Importante nga everyone that people are safe at saka kahit hindi ka mahawa o kahit mahawa ka, hindi ka naman magka-problema. Kung ibigay mo sa ibang tao, and then they're the ones who may suffer, and we have to try and do this together nga, no? So no, absolutely. If they offer it to me, definitely
Pero kasi may
sign
mga
me up.
conspiracy theories na alam mo na ano no, we will be controlled, yung mga parang alam na alam para tayo mga may barcode tayo bawat individual may barcode because they're injecting into us this mga RNA no, parang mga protein something, parang DNA RNA no, parang so we're being parang yung mga genetically modified mga crops no, they say na medyo parang hindi ganoon kaganda no. So baka ganun na mangyari sa atin because if we will be injected by these things, alam mo na, plus yung mga profit daw and so on and so forth. So, yun nga, yung mga anti-vax, pero let's give it a chance siguro. Parang kasi everybody would love to go back to normalcy. Even those people probably who are against the vaccine, I don't think they themselves are protecting themselves, siguro, di ba? Hindi naman siguro parang, di ba, na you're putting your life in danger kung parang binabaliwala mo, you're going out without mask, going to the groceries, mga supermarkets. Takot tayo because people are dying. Di ba?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And at saka hindi lang, if you are willing to take the risk, I mean, I can't see why you would, But also, kung meron ka mga kamag-anak, may pamilya ka, no? Nakatira ka sa kasama mo, nanay, tatay mo, no? Mas matanda sila. O meron kang anak, may sakit, no? Underlying problems. O asawa mo, they are the underlying issues, no? Kahit hindi ka nga, even if you're not affected by it, if you get it, it doesn't mean that they would be okay, no? It's everyone's responsibility to also protect those, to also protect others, no, not just yourself, nga. And there's no evidence, no medical evidence that all these conspiracy theories are in any way correct, no. And it is, I think, masabi ko, it's dangerous also to subscribe to it when what it's doing is it's putting people off, and some of those people were likely to be vulnerable, no. So it's not something people should do. No, it's so anyway, I can't understand why they would do that. I mean, I'm thrilled when nalaman ko may vaccine na, because it's the beginning to getting back to some normalcy. I miss, hindi mo ba na-miss yung mga people, no? Tayo mga Pinoy, we're so social tayo, no? I miss getting together, parties, ha?
Totoo yan, authority. Oh, di ba? And then, tsaka lalo na, Christmas time, get together. Di ba? What if, di ba, it's been an abnormal time. Okay, we just limited to about 3 households yata between the 23rd and the 27th. 5 araw yan eh. You have a window of 5 days. 1 day, give or take, which one, before or after. I think sa Northern Ireland, ganun yata setup nila. Pero, yun nga, we miss touching people. We miss enjoying the theaters. We miss the parties. Sabi mo nga, we miss, nawawala na yung dating mga fun things that we have to do. Traveling, for example, has been limited, di ba? Gusto natin mag-holiday, hindi tayo makapag-holiday. But somehow, by having that, nagkakaroon ng a little protection yung mga tao, nakakagalaw-galaw tayo. People can now go back to work, businesses can now open, di ba? Win-win situation.
Yun na nga eh. I mean, it's also, it starts really from, of course, important nga, getting together with family, no? Especially Christmas time is so different from last Christmas to now, no? Also, even if, so going from that to little things nga, going to a cafe, no? Just for coffee, yeah? And tayo mga Pinoy, I mean, I myself, we like a bit of party, you like to dance, karaoke, di ba? No? So all those things for a year now, hindi natin nagagawa, no? And there may be little things by comparison to, of course, health issues, but it's what makes life enjoyable, di ba?
Tama, oo, di ba? Maganda di ba? Yung maski nagkakape-kape lang kayo sa tabi-tabi diyan, di ba? O di ka ano? Ngayon hindi you're limited. Okay, although you could do it, pero iba pa rin yung really may freedom talaga na maayos. Kasi parang ngayon para tayong curtailed lahat di ba? para tayong
Yeah.
hindi makatodo. And
Yeah.
ikaw, kamukha pa pala, mahilig ka pala mag-karaoke. Hindi ko alam. Ano ba favorite song mo,
Yeah.
attorney?
Uh, I would have a go at karaoke. I mean, I like to. I can't really dance. I definitely cannot sing. Okay, but both I enjoy. Okay,
All right. Okay, okay. Okay.
karaoke. I like watching people, especially tayo mga Pinoy. No, I mean me excluded. Unfortunately, I know you can sing and sing very well.
Not
No.
really. Oh, I can sing lang, singing lang. Oh, singing. But dancing is not my wala. Dancing you can ako hihilahin mo pa ako siguro, frustrate ka pang kakahila sa akin sa dance floor because hindi ako talaga sasayaw, nahihiya ako. Wala
No,
akong
but your
moves.
voice, magaling ka. Sorry, don't
Kanta,
be
kanta lang, attorney. Pero ikaw you can dance and you can sing, di ba? You're not an expert in both, pero you can dance, you can sing. Oh, maski paano, di ba? You can give it a try.
I wouldn't even use the word expert in the same sentence. Talaga, I can't sing for the life of me, and I'm sure people would pay me not to sing.
Grabe ka naman.
Yeah.
And really, pagka binayaran ka, mas gusto ko na rin yan, attorney, at least meron tayong bagong income sa pandemic, no? Di ba? Huwag ka na kumanta, may bayad ko. Thank you. You want to threaten, I want to threaten everybody, I'm gonna be singing. No. Here's our, okay, well, at least maganda yung na napapag-usapan na may bagong balita na, and hopefully sana it passes through the regulators because it has been very quick. In January, sinimulan nila yung mga, I think Moderna or Pfizer or, and then this is too short, this is too quick actually, compared to the usual process of developing a drug, no? But, syempre, these are abnormal, unusual times, diba? So we really have to, pati ngayon, pati korte na, well, sabi mo, tribunal lang, when you say tribunal, is this a court? Is this like a semblance of a court? So, these are all affected via pandemic. So, have you got special arrangements? O ano ba yan? Parang teleconference ba yan? How do you do it now?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, that's actually one thing that I'd like to touch on later. That at the moment, the hearings are taking place either by phone or by what they call CVP, which is essentially video. No, neither really is that great, to be frank. No, today, in fact, I was engaged in from my hearing started at 2 and it finished at 5. No, it was all done by phone. It was just not it was not ideal, no. I mean, okay, you have to make do with what you have, but it's just not ideal. And with appeals, yung pag-uusapan nga natin mamaya, you also have to take that into account, no. And I think this will continue for at least the next, say, 6 months, if not longer. Then, of course, maraming mga appeals that they've just been put back and they're trying to catch up nga. Because for 3 months, no, nothing really happened during the first lockdown. Ngayon, at least things are still moving, but there's been such a backlog in all cases, but absolutely immigration. No? So it's actually one of the tips na we need to discuss today, because I think people have to bear in mind how is it going to take place if it's not in person.
Ayun, tama. Okay. Alright, teka muna, mag-break muna tayo dahil yan pag-uusapan natin na yung topic natin when we come back. So we're gonna have a short break, mga kaibigan. Maghukay nga alis, saglit po lamang kami ho ni Attorney Lira ay magbabalik, no? Oh, by the way, nais ko lang sabihin ho sa inyo na ang World Remit ho merong pangkabuhayan na package, attorney, no? 200,000 pesos. Yan, 10 ho ang pamimigay. So with a total of 2 million pesos yan. Ito ho'y parang teka muna. Mamaya ko na. Magbe-break muna tayo. Basta ito ho, may pangkabuhayan punta lang ho kayo sa packages, punta lang ho kayo sa World Remit na website ho. At doon ho ay makikita nyo kung ano yung mga detalye ho para ho sa kung paano mananalo. Saglit po lamang, magbabalik ho kami ni Attorney.
Bangon na niluluto mo
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
Okay, nako, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa ating program. Ayan na. Ito na, magdi-discuss na ho tayo. Okay, we're back on the program. Okay, attorney, ano yung sinasabi natin, pag-uusapan natin, na-flash natin kanina yan, no? Yung ating practical tips when appealing to an immigration tribunal. Ito yung tier 1 yata ang sinasabi mo, no?
Yeah,
Linaw,
so first tier.
For tier 1.
So,
okay.
So umpisa natin, no? So unang-una po ito. May nag-email nga sa akin actually last week. Sabi sa akin, he's a viewer. Ang sabi niya, is it possible ba na he listens nga, we talk about yung the law, case law nga, yung anong batas na kailangan nating tingnan. Pero sabi niya sa akin, is it possible to concentrate nga on practical tips, no? Which I think actually is a valid point. Importante, of course, na alam yung batas, no? But equally important is, ano bang kailangan nyo i-prepare, especially kung immigration tribunal. So, pag-uusapan po natin ngayon, yung appealing to the what's called the first-tier tribunal, no? So, that's the first, if you like, tribunal if you get a refusal. So, we'll concentrate nga on practical tips rather than the law that's involved, because of course before pinag-usapan na natin yung Article 8, human rights, to do with Section 55, to do with children. All those of course continue to be important. Pero ngayon, talk of practical tips. No, especially mga taong ngayon meron kayong appeal. These are things to watch out for. Okay, so now let's start really from the top. Now, if you make an application, tapos na-refuse ka, anong kailangan mong gawin? Now, in some cases, not everyone, you have what's called a right of appeal. That right of appeal can come into play. Even if it's out country or in-country application. So kung nagpasok yung application, sabihin natin meron kayong pamilya sa atin, nagpasok yung application, na-refuse yung application nila, you can potentially appeal that. Ang una natin pag-usapan, deadline, no? If you are appealing an out-country application, the deadline is 28 days. 28 days calendar days, if you like, no? It's not working days. So really, they do mean slightly less than 1 month. So importante po yun. Now, it's 28 days from the date that you deem to have received it, no? So kung in-email sa iyo, for example, yung decision, then it's you deem to have received it. Yeah. So count 28 days from that. If you make an in-country application, so nagpasok yung application nga dito, na-refuse kayo, you have 14 days usually to appeal, no? So again, it's 14 actual days, not working days. So obviously half of if you're making an application, if you made an application that's refused from outside the UK. Now, there are specific forms na kailangan yung kumpletuhin. So an out-country application, if you're appealing that, ang pangalan ng form is IA, so Immigration Appeal, FT for First-Tier Tribunal 6. If you're making an in-country appeal, yung application nyo yung na-refuse nga and you in the UK, the form you need to use is IA, so Immigration Appeal, first tier, number 5, IAFT 5. Now, so yun ang una. Do not miss the deadline. If you do miss the deadline and you have a good reason, you can apply to extend it, but don't risk that. Don't think, i-extend nga nila. They may not do so. Okay? So, do not miss the deadline ng unang-una. Now, when you have your appeal form, okay, you have a choice also. You can either ask for an appeal to be considered in person. Now, pag-usapan, you can apply to extend it, but don't risk that. Don't think, oh, i-extend nga nila. They may not do so. Okay? So, do not miss the deadline ng unang-una. Now, when you have your appeal form, okay, you have a choice also. You can either ask for an appeal to be considered in person. Now, pag-usapan, you can apply to extend it, but don't risk that. Don't think, oh, i-extend nga nila. They may not do so. Okay? So, do not miss the deadline ng unang-una. Now, when you have your appeal form, okay, you have a choice also. You can either ask for an appeal to be considered in person.
All
Pag-usapan, you can apply to
right.
extend it, but don't risk that.
Ano
Don't
nangyari?
think, oh,
Sandali.
i-extend nga nila. They may not do so. Okay? So, do not miss the deadline ng unang-una. Now, when you have your appeal form, okay, you have a choice also. You can either ask for an appeal to be... Opo. Okay. Nabalik na ako. So, I'm so sorry about that. Technical difficulties, no? Hindi kita marinig, Sonny.
Yeah, sorry. O nga, nag-feedback, no? My apologies. So, may pumabalik na audio sa'yo kaya nakakalito. Sige. So, ang kaninang sinasabi mo is, ano lang natin, no? Don't miss the deadline. Ano yung sinasabi mo?
Yeah.
And you were talking about the forms earlier, di ba? Oh, sige.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tuloy lang.
Don't
Sige, attorney. Sorry about that. Sige. Okay,
Yeah,
go.
okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Technical difficulties natin. So, yeah, carrying on from where we left off. So, yung nga, don't miss the deadline, please, okay? Pero if you do miss the deadline, sabihin natin, wala nga kayo dito sa bansa, you got it late, o hindi nagkasakit kayo, then don't just give up, no? Ask for an extension. Kailangan pa rin pasok yung appeal nyo, but at the same time, make an application to extend and give evidence. So, kung may nagkasakit nga kayo, then provide a medical report, your letter from your GP na ito nga ang dahilan. That's why you missed the deadline. And if it's not too long, the deadline, then it may be that you still get it, no? So you can still appeal. So now, if you make you then have a choice. You can appeal and ask for it to be dealt with in person. Okay, pag-usapan natin yung mamaya because at the moment of lockdown, it's a bit different. Or you can ask for your appeal to be dealt with in writing. So ibig sabihin, you're not then going to be questioned by, say, the Home Office or indeed the judge nga. But of course, at the same time, you can't also give evidence, no? So ibig sabihin, you're just putting everything in writing. So that will go before judge, titignan nila as in the normal case. Now, be careful, no? My experience certainly is if you're appealing a human rights case, that your chance of success is far higher if you make an appeal in person rather than so orally rather than in writing. So unless the case is very straightforward, then it may be better if you opt for an oral appeal rather than a written appeal. Now, there's a fee payable. The tribunal will expect you to pay for an oral appeal, £140. Okay? For a written appeal, it's £80. But they do need to be paid. Yeah, huwag niyong kalimutan, because otherwise they will reject nga the appeal if you've not paid it. So, as I've said, so unang-una, you've had a refusal. You comply with the deadline, 14 or 28 days. You know now the form na kailangan yung kompletuhin, no? You need to also ask or decide, are you going to deal with it orally or are you going to deal with it in writing? Yun, okay? Now, the form will also ask, kailangan nyo ba ng interpreter, for example. Interpreters are free, That's something that the tribunal will provide nga for you. But don't get that mixed up with if you need documents, say, to be translated. They are your job to get translated. So if you need to pay to get them translated, then you need to do that. But kung kailangan nyo ng interpreter for the hearing, then the tribunal, in fact, will provide that, and you don't have to pay that extra. But they will just be there for the hearing nga mismo. No? Again, there, be careful, because although, of course, kung kailangan mo ng interpreter, dahil hindi mo maintindihan kaya, or you are afraid that you may not catch it all, or you may not be able to express yourself properly, then of course, if you need an interpreter, then definitely ask for an interpreter. But yung nga din, be careful, because of course, if you have an interpreter, magbibigay ka ng evidence, then sasabihin mo yun sa interpreter. The interpreter will then relate to the judge. Now, if there's any kind of emotion involved, by the time the interpreter relays it to the judge, of course the emotion is gone. Then hindi naman nila buhay. So it is think very carefully kung kailangan mo na interpreter. Sometimes mga tao, they say, gusto kong interpreter because I want a little bit of time to think about the question. That's not really I think the proper use of an interpreter. But sometimes nga din, naiintindihan mo yung English naman, hindi naman problema, nalilito ka pa, So, but mainly really it's a question of how you come across, So if it's sabihin natin pamilya mo, gusto mo silang kunin nga dito. Of course, when you give evidence, you put that, you do it in an emotional, not emotional thing, crying, but you give it emotion when you're giving evidence. All that will be lost if it's being given through an interpreter. Of course, sasabihin nila. So, which is a bit of a shame. And it can make a difference to a case nga. Now, so we have then the forms and the interpreter nga. Now, documents to submit. I'll deal with the documents in more detail, the specific documents. But do not forget, documents must be submitted to the first-tier tribunal and the Home Office. Okay? Don't just send it nga to the tribunal, nakalimutan yung Home Office. So, they also need it. Now, at the same time, they also need to send you the Home Office document. Documents, bundle nga for the hearing. If you don't get that, say sabihin natin a month before the hearing, chase them. Okay? It is important you have that in advance of the hearing, because otherwise, how do you prepare for it? Hindi mo alam nga kung it could be that they have some documents there that you somehow have not seen before. Really, it should comprise of documents that you have seen, but sometimes it can bring up documents that the Home Office have prepared na hindi niyo pa nakita. So it's important you do have it. Now, one tip also, and this is something that I generally do for my cases, you are entitled to apply for or obtain your file from the Home Office. It's called, ang tawag doon, subject access request. There's a fee of 10 pounds, 10 pounds nga lang, to get your documents. Beware though, the Home Office can have 40 working days, so over 2 months, to get the documents to you. So if you want to see your file, or your family file now, as from the Home Office file nga mismo, you need to do that pretty quickly. So, pagka nagpasok kayo ng appeal, also do that to allow the Home Office ample time and put it in your diary, So, allow for the usual 40 working days. Pagka lumagpas na yun, kung hindi pa sila nagbibigay, chase them. So, it's important that you do. Because otherwise, you may miss out some things. Now, makukuha nyo, the subject access request file, makikita nyo doon, is actually the computer file, of the Home Office. Now, it can be quite important. They can make comments that can help your case. And it could be sometimes the comments are completely wrong. And that then, of course, gives you the additional, if you like, factor of saying to the judge, well, tingnan nyo, this sabi nila ito, that was clearly wrong. or maybe it's something factual like the age of the child, sabihin natin. Now, so if you think you need your file nga from the home office, and it doesn't hurt to get it, and it's only £10 lang naman, then apply for it, but apply for it in advance. Sometimes you don't really need it because you're fairly clear about the facts of the case, but it may not even hurt to simply apply for it. No? Now, what do you do to prepare? Now, sabi ko nga last Thursday, pag-usapan natin, children appealing. And I think, and so we'll certainly also deal with that. Ano mga documents na kailangan nyo? Now, it depends really, of course, kung anong dahilan, no? Anong dahilan ng refusal. So if it's to do with money, a spouse application, sabihin natin, sabi nila, you're not earning you or your spouse together or individually nga not earning enough, so 18,600, then of course, bank statements are quite important. Now, it becomes a bit more complex if it's say sabihin natin overstayers, no? So wala ka nang visa nga dito. You want to show that you have established family or private life in the United Kingdom. Anong kailangan mo? Now, statements, no? I cannot emphasize enough the importance of statements. Parang affidavits, no? So yung istorya nyo, it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be kind of emotional, no, statement. So and you have to have a declaration also of truth. So ako, I always start my statements with I, tapos pangalan mo. So in my case, it would be I, LIRA, CABATBAT, make the statement knowing the same to be true, no? So you're making a statement that you are making, you're making a truthful statement, no? And then always start nga with, and put some structure in it, no? So that makikita to ng judge, and the judge will rely probably quite heavily on your statement. So it needs to be structured, no? So it needs to be also, kung ano man sasabihin nyo, they need to be factually correct, yun, and of course relevant. Yeah, there's no point putting in something that is completely, out of this world, no, because that would just annoy them. So always start now with essentially just a brief facts, no. You're the appellant in this matter. You are the mother of, no, Junior. Junior is living in the Philippines and is now age whatever. His date of birth is this. His appeal was refused because, so yung umpisa, no? So then you should also say, of course, yung address mo. If you're in the UK, how long have you been in the UK? I mean, are you British? And kung hindi ka British, anong visa mo? No? So start really with the basic facts. Tapos, then look at, importante ito, no? Look at the refusal. If the refusal says, especially in relation to children, they don't believe that you have what's called sole responsibility. No? Sole responsibility, you remember, is sino nga bahala dun sa bata, for example. No? Who makes the substantial decisions in his or her life? No? Ikaw ba? O yung bang ama? O yung bang lola o lolo? No? So, that's the basic issue of sole responsibility. So, kung yung refusal nga, what do you do? Now, so you say, so they refused my son's application on the basis solely of sole responsibility. So yun lang, no? I dispute this because, tapos lagyan nyo yung kaso mo, no? So it may be that you arrived in the UK, sabihin natin, 10 years ago. But even though 10 years ka nga dito, no? And physically you're separated, you can still argue, and successfully nga, that you have remain to have sole responsibility for your child because, sabihin mo, in the 10 years that I've been in the United Kingdom, I've been going home, no, on a yearly basis, or sometimes not even more than that. I would go home. I would go back to the Philippines nga to see my children if it were not for my commitment in my employment commitment, for example. But I also provide them on a monthly basis, remittances, no? Yung pinapadala nyo. So sabihin nyo doon, ano bang binibigay, anong ginagawa nyo to continue with what's called your parental responsibility. And for most of you out there, nga, it's papadala kayo. But hindi, yung pera, hindi yung yun ang kailangan, hindi yun sapat, kung yun lang. Umuwi kayo. Okay? Kung hindi kayo umuwi dati dahil wala nga kayong status, why did you just start now? Maybe it's just because your immigration visa was sorted only recently, for example, no? So also, kung kailangan nila ng sabihin natin, kailangan nila ng gamot, no? Who do they approach? Kailangan nilang hospital. Who do they approach? So kung nasa lola sila, does lola call you, for example, no? So lagay niyo lahat doon yung sitwasyon nga. It's for you to explain your case. Importante yun. It's for you definitely to explain your case. If you don't explain it, then of course, the judge will not see it. Now, on top of that, you then also submit additional documents. So the statement really is the starting point. The statement should, if you're making references to certain things like medical reports, then they also need to be submitted. So, kung yung sabihin natin nandito yung bata nasa atin, may sakit siya. If that's the case, if it's relevant to your case, then medical report. Kung nandito yung bata, absolutely still medical report, no? So it's for you to show that what you're saying is true. Now, medical reports generally, but not always nga, generally is to do mainly with physical issues, yeah. Now, if there are, however, psychological issues, no? Sabihin natin yung bata autistic, no? Or have issues psychologically, they don't want to be anxiety disorders, mga ganon. Then you may need what's called either a psychologist or indeed a psychiatrist report. No? Ibig sabihin, kailangan makita yung bata. So if the child is in the UK, especially, then you may be able to make arrangements now for a psychologist or indeed psychiatrist to see the child and then prepare nga a report. Now, so if you're submitting medical reports, also if it's from GPs, beware, mabagal sila ngayon, no? To give documents, mainly I think because of the lockdown. But if you want something more substantial, it could be that they would want to see you also, and if your case notes are quite big, then it may take the GP longer. No? Now, same goes for psychiatrist or psychologist report. So allow for enough time. Documents, if it's not in English, it must be translated. Okay? So, for example, mga birth certificate natin, I think mainly birth certificate natin sa Pinas at saka marriage contract natin, usually there's also an English section nga. But sometimes nga din, if you want to submit, sabihin natin Facebook entries, no? Or need text, yeah? Not only are we texting in Tagalog, we're texting in abbreviated Tagalog. So you may have to have those nga, if you like, not translated, but yeah, translated is one thing, but also just clarified, no? That can be quite expensive. So again, beware if you need a proper translator to do it. Now, it's for you, of course, to provide your documents. Now, if the issue is, sabihin natin, marriage, no? Then of course, produce your marriage certificate. Yeah? Kung sabi ng Home Office, well, we dispute that the parties are in fact married. Ang payo ko, absolutely produce the marriage certificate, but also send it in advance, even in advance of the bundle nga, to the Home Office. Sabihin mo sa kanila, look, I'm serving you formally with my marriage certificate. If you have any concerns about it, then do please let me know. Most of the time they don't. They don't actually make contact with you. But at least you've given it to them. It's up to them now to express their concerns if that's what they want to do. Now, make sure you keep that letter. Okay? Kung papadala nyo by post, padala nyo by registered post. So, in case it comes up in court, mapapakita nyo, well, I've already sent it. They didn't actually question the document. And for that, so it's up to the Home Office, of course, to question it. So if you go, in case there's a dispute about it at court. Now, school reports, children's school reports, importante nga din yun, ha? So school reports obviously come once a year, usually towards the end of the year. Now, if you have children who have, as I say, learning difficulties, it's important you submit those. But likewise, if you have children who are excelling, in their subjects, then you should also include those. If you have children who are excelling in extracurricular activities, such as say tennis o kaya football, mga ganoon, karate, then also include those, because it shows, in relation to children applications, or in this case children appeal, it shows that they're thriving in the United Kingdom. So it is for you to show, for you to prove your case. Now, when you come to children, I get asked this actually relatively frequently. Would the tribunal want to hear from children? The answer is no. They don't want to hear from children, because also it can be quite a traumatic, experience for children. So unless the children are quite a bit older, by that I mean really 17, 16, maybe 15, but try not to get them involved, okay? And also tribunals don't like it. Now, so it is for you to prepare your case. It's in a bundle, papadala nyo yon. The bundle must be indexed. So lagay nyo, yung para bang lilista nyo, meron kayong lista kung anong ipapasok nyo, and paginate it. So kung sasabihin nyo, a statement ko, pages 1 through to 5, if it's 5 pages. And then pangalawa, medical reports ko, from page 6 through to page 10. So pagka tinignan nga ng judge, makikita niya, okay, gustong makita yung statement, he goes to page 1. Gustong makita yung medical report, she goes to page 6. So it's for you to show, you have to be organized, really. You have to be structured. You must make sure nga, kung ano man kailangan nga ng judge, na makikita niya without too much difficulty. Hindi niya kailangan halongkatin, because they're busy too, and it's for you, again, I say again, for you to prove your case. Now, that then takes us to how will the hearing take place? At the moment, because of COVID nga, a lot of hearings, so if you opt for an oral appeal, a lot of hearings are taking place actually what's called virtually. So it can be done either by phone or by video. Now, if you opt for video, makikita mo sila. It's a little bit like Zoom, but they don't use Zoom. It's they use a version of Skype. Yeah. So you will see the judge, you will see the home office if the home office is there, and they will of course also see you. Yeah. When you're giving evidence, you give evidence as if you're already also in court. Now, and this is something that I experienced not too long ago. If you're going to say, okay, I want a virtual hearing, please. Make sure kung ano man ginagamit nyo, iPad, phone. The phone's not too great, dahil ang liit nga lang, or your laptop. Laptops especially kung gagamitin nyo, or yung computer nyo, you can do that. But make sure you have a camera, because it could be maririnig kanila, but they can't see you, And the idea of a video is that they're able to see you, they're able to gauge you. Okay? So set it up in advance. Make sure that it's all ready to go, because otherwise you may find that it can't go ahead because they can't see you, or indeed they can't hear you. So oral, if you ask for an oral hearing, the chances are quite high that it becomes a virtual hearing. So either by phone nga, or CVP. So essentially that's a video, so it's not ideal. Now they are hearing some cases personally, but a lot of cases, I would say at the moment, mga kaso ko, siguro 90% actually are being dealt with virtually, which is not ideal, but okay, wala tayong magagawa, at least it's getting done. And it makes actually, because of that, limitations nga of a virtual hearing, no, it makes the paperwork all the more important. So bundles must be prepared properly. It must be indexed, it must be paginated. And lagay nyo lahat, no? And also make sure, as I say, makuha nyo home office bundle. Because then you can see. I mean, it's for them to prepare their bundle, but you want to see it in advance because you may want to add some documents to deal with certain points that they raise, no? And saka yung statement nyo, you may want to. It's probably a good idea to see their bundle to see. Oh, no, are there points that I need to raise? No? So it's very, very important, especially now because of virtual hearings nga, that your documents are done properly, statements are well prepared, and structured nga, and of course that you're on time. So that just it was important even before COVID. Of course, it's important that you prepare your case for any hearing, but even more so now because judges need to rely more inevitably on documents. Hindi kayo makita, no? That's especially the case if there are quite complex issues and disputes. So especially if it's to do with, say, your sole responsibility to do with children. So do not let yourself down by not preparing your case properly. Don't be late also with the deadlines. But as I say, be structured. Don't leave it until the last minute. No, it's important you serve it on the judge, and of course you serve it on the home office. So, but to prepare for your case, which hopefully will be successful, you have to help yourself, and that you can do by being, as I say, prepared.
Okay, ayan. Okay, preparasyon, no? Yung sinasabi mo, bundle attorney, that's getting to know what they have on you, or what you,
Yeah.
di ba?
Yeah,
You said
the home office,
beware 40 days. Ano ba yun? Baka abutin ng 40 days.
Yeah, 40 days. So, yung sabi kong bundle, there are two types nga, no? So, yung bundle, the hearing, well, actually there's three. There's your bundle for the hearing, come prepare. There's the home office bundle, okay? Yung papadala nila sa'yo in support of their refusal, okay, against your appeal nga. And then there's what's called the subject access request file, no? Yun ang home office bundle on your actual case. So, and it's computer generated. Makikita mo doon, okay, when the application was submitted, background essentially. And that is the one that's, I was saying, 40 working days ang deadline. And there's a fee payable, a princely sum of 10 pounds.
10 pounds,
Opo.
sabi mo. Oh,
10 pounds lang. So it's certainly worth getting. But yung nga, it's a question of timing. So when you appeal, pasok nyo din yun.
Parang ano pala yan, kamukha itong sinatawag mo subject access request para din sa mga no, yung parang, hindi ko alam kung £1 yun yung, kukunin mo yung credit file mo from the, di ba? Parang gano'n, di ba?
Ganda.
Oo, parang ganun din, no? So you pay for it. Yun nga lang, you pay for pagka yung for the appeal. Depende pala yan. Sabi mo nga, pagka oral, which is in a way stronger, no? If it warrants an oral appeal, go for it. £140. Pag written appeal, no, kung pwedeng sulat-sulat lang, that's £80. Okay, well, marami palang form. At least ngayon, naintindihan natin mga forms sa in-country, out-country, mga I-8FT 65, mga ganyan pala, no? May mga ano pala.
Opo.
So, basta importante dyan, you have to really not miss the deadline, di ba? Yun ang pinaka-importante. Oo.
Yeah,
So,
unang-una.
lahat ng refusal yan, na napunta sa tier 1. Sa unang stage pa lang, tier 1 tribunal ba yan? Is that how you call it, attorney?
Opo. Yeah. So, so it's the first tier tribunal, no? There's that, and there's also the upper tribunal, no? If there's no appeal, then there's possibility of administrative review. There's also judicial review. Okay, so but the main thing is first year tribunal, and if you fail there, then possibly there's the upper tribunal as a next recourse. No, and of course it comes into it also. It comes into play also the high court if it's a judicial review or a court of appeal, for example. So But yung nga, unang-una, it's called the first tier tribunal. That's the first, if you like, line of appeals.
Okay. Sige, we'll have a short break. Mag-break lang ho muna tayo. Pagbalik ho natin, kung may mga questions kayo o di kaya babati mga pagbati ho. Mamaya yung ating konting little contest, attorney, doon sa end of the contest, at the end, hindi na tayo muna, di ba, we've been mentioning this every now and then, no? Na merang mananalo para may magpipick, meron tayong random, we will use a ano ba yan? Online picker. Kung sino
Okay.
yung sa mga nag-message, no? And yeah, we will give out yung ating Doritos, no? Sa kanila. Okay, mag-break muna tayo, mga kaibigan. We'll have a short break. I'm sure medyo ano kayo doon sa, ganun pala yun, no? Pati yung mga kumagkano, ano yung mga dokumento, ano yung mga gagastusin, no? Yung mga bundle na yan, at least naintindihan nyo ng konti, no? Dahil kailangan talaga mag-appeal ka pagka you have, may right of appeal ka, kailangan talaga, di ba? If you were refused, no? Kailangan i-ano mo yan, i-appeal mo. Okidoki. Wag ho kayong alis, no? Saglit po lamang kami ni attorney ay magbabalik at siyempre, tuloy-tuloy yung ating yung ating Immigration Corner, no? Wag ho kayong alis. Saglit po lamang.
During these trying times, we salute the frontliners who are tirelessly caring for all of us against the COVID-19. To all the courageous nurses, doctors, carers, and paramedics at the NHS, words are not enough to thank you. We at Highlight Express International are here to support you back with a full semester 10% discount when you send your balikbayan boxes to your family in the Philippines. Dahil ang Highlight Express International ay para sa pamilya.
Tapos yung niluluto mo paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, balik tayo sa ating program. Bago natin balik muna si Attorney, gusto ko lang i-anunsyo lang, no, dahil ito ay malapit na mag-draw, yung unang-unang draw, no, first week of December. Ito yung sinasabi kong pangkabuhayan package worth 200 pesos. All you have to do is send money via World Remit, no? At madali lang. Ito ho yung mapapanalunan, no? Bigasan yan. That's 200,000 pounds. So Grain Smart franchise business, and may tablet ka pa para for the bills or bill payment business. All you have to do, no, is just send money to the Philippines, no, with the World Remit, and register kayo and enter your details dito ho sa page na to, no. May link ho yan, makikita ho nyo sa ating Facebook page, yung SONNY LARAGAN, no, ayan ho. And you can win 200,000 pesos worth of Grain Smart pangkabuhayan package. Ayan lang ho. Okay, so madali ho. Magpadala na ngayon, lalo na ngayon, medyo malapit na yung pangalan nito. Etong katapusan, no, sa ating mga loved ones sa Pilipinas. So magpadala na via World Remit and you get the chance to win 200,000 pesos worth of Grain Smart pangkabuhayan package. Ayun, magsisimula yun. Attorney, 60 sacks of rice, no? Yun ang simula. Yun ang ating Okay, well, meron tayong mga pagbati. Siguro let's greet yung ating mga bumabati sa atin, no? Si Glomary, bumabati si Glomary Rose Cancino. Haba ng pangalan ito, Martinez, no? Yan, bumabati siya sa atin. Teka muna. Asa na ba yun? Okay, teka muna. Tapos followed by, ito si Yan Galicia Paner, watching from Cheltenham. Yan.
Hello, Miss Paner.
Yes, and si Ma'am Cora Carsola, sabi niya, hello Sir Sonny, Attorney Lira, and all. Ayun, mabuhay. Yan, si Ma'am Cora. Mukhang napansin ko, Ma'am Cora, nakapag-download ka na ng Viber, ha? Ayan, tapos ito si Yan again. Yan message tayo sa atin. Sabi niya, and hello everyone and happy Thursday po and stay safely po. Ayun.
Yeah. Salamat po, Miss Paner.
Nako, ito galit na galit siya, Attorney.
Sir Sonny. Hindi pa ako. So,
Attorney Lira.
Yeah. Can I just say, my apologies. Ang ginawa ko, because you're in Northern Ireland, ang pinadala ko na lang sa'yo, I've actually sent you Sainsbury's voucher, gift voucher. Because to be frank, I'm so embarrassed na hindi ko pinadala sa'yo. So, you can get more than 3 Doritos. So, if you don't get that by Monday, sir, Mr. Boho, email me, please. Then, because you're so far away. I tried to make arrangement Sainsbury's. May Sainsbury's kayo doon. But it just doesn't work. So, ang ginawa ko, I've just sent you a voucher. Actually, saying that, yung mga, there was another person, nakalimutan ko na sino, actually 2. Nagpadala na ako ng voucher sa kanila.
Okay.
I think that way you treat yourself to more than just 3 Doritos.
Rudy, pasensya na ha, talagang kasi talagang medyo busy rin si Attorney. Ito'y katuwaan lang niya, parang out of her good heart nagkatuwaan ng time for just a little And understandable naman kasi it's not, yung Doritos hindi naman yung hihabol ni Rudy. It's more of the fun, yung nandyan siya, nanalo siya. Diba? Yun lang naman yun eh. So, Rudy, both sides tayo, we have to understand si Attorney very busy, na ano lang siguro, minsan you wanna do it, tapos biglang ma-divert ka ng something, distracted ka by something, may a call or anything. So, ganun. Pero ayan, everybody meant well, no? We meant well when Attorney said, dahil birthday ng daughter mo, additional Doritos from the usual. Pero sa kanila naman, it was more of the fun of it. So, mabuhay si Rudy Librojo, no?
Yeah. So, Mr. Bo, again, my apologies po. Pero ang pinadala ko sa'yo is voucher. But it's Sainsbury's
may voucher.
No? Yeah.
Doon sa address niya, Attorney, binigay mo sa address niya siyempre, no?
Pinadala ko.
Okay, sige. Abangan mo lang ng Monday, Rudy. Basta Monday, pag wala pa, let us know. Baka nawala. Or let Attorney know, no?
I actually looked it up. There is a Sainsbury's in Belfast. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Ang ayaw kong gawin na magpadala ko ng Sainsbury's voucher and then because I actually got a few. There were either one or two na may utang pa ako sa kanilang hindi pinadala. So I also sent them.
Okay pala yan.
Sure.
Pwede pala yan,
So,
attorney. You buy,
Yeah.
ano yan, binibili ba ang mga Sainsbury's vouchers? May nabibili din pala yan?
Yeah, it's a gift voucher nga. So,
Hindi ko alam yun
especially for Lebron, ginawa ko, I looked up if there's a Sainsbury's in Belfast, and there is. So, yung nga. So if you, I sent that actually only today. In fairness, no. So hopefully it doesn't get caught up. Pero pinadala ko by post to your address, which I won't, of course, say now. So it, but it will hopefully buy you more than the three.
Well, just to make up na pasensya na, Rudy.
No?
Oo.
Should be the case. So so hopefully you enjoy. And next time, pagka mag-email ka sa amin, hopefully you will say, got it.
Yes. Kasi nga, medyo, kasi they were happy during that time, di ba? Dahil nanalo, di ba? Little things manalo ka. Of course, yung mga lottery, malalaki yan. Pero to win in simple, that's the fun of it. Pasensya na, Rudy, at andyan na si attorney at alam, busy lang. So, pag hindi mo pa rin natanggap ng Monday, let us know, ha? Okidoki, email mo. Okay, si Emmeline Rafael, sabi niya, good evening, Sonny and Attorney Lira. Happy Thursday, everyone. Ayan, ako. Eto mga tao, siguro pagka nagkaroon ng tapos ng lockdown, itong mga taong to, siguro magkaroon tayo ng barbecue, no? Dahil sobrang kanilang dedication sa ating programa, no? Nanonood sila. Ayan.
Yeah. Miss Rafael, I would just say your photos is beautiful, no? Ang ganda ng damit mo. So it looks like
parang Maria Clara. Ano ba? Blouse. How do you call that? That's a dress, no? Dress yan, no?
Oh,
Pero wala siyang gano'n, no? Yung parang kay Imelda Marcos, hindi gano'n ang damit niya, no? Hindi, no? It's an ordinary, it's a blouse. Girl, kasi hindi ako babae, no?
no?
Kasi blouse kalahati lang, di ba? Pero yan parang isang buo yan, dress yan, bale.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes. Oh, hi, si Emmeline. Ano ko yan, paborito ko yung, I love that, I love her, that person, no? Talagang, taga yata siya, taga Wimbledon, kung di ako nagkakamali. Wimbledon ka nga ba, Emmeline, no? Malalaman natin pag sumagot kung talaga nanonood, baka nag-message lang, di ba? Hello, Emmeline, no? Ayan. Tapos ito ang na-intriga ako sa name nito, attorney, Ojayahimye Marinel. Marinel.
We have a go at saying her the name, no? Oja.
Oo nga hindi ang hirap nga yun eh. Oo.
Oja, yeah.
Sumagot si Emmeline Rafael. Ito to. Sabi niya, that's our uniform sa Ladies of Rizal. Ayun. Nanonood. Nanonood.
Ang ganda po.
Uy, lalo na sa Sabado. Excuse me, Sabado panalo, kailangan nanonood kayo. Pag natawag kayo at nanalo kayo, hindi kayo tumawag sa amin, bibigay natin sa iba, no? Excuse me. Ayan, so naka-uniform pala. So, okay. Okay lang. Nia Turner. Kilala mo ba to, attorney? Watching from Surrey?
Turner. Oh, that's a different picture. Wine glass. Okay.
Wine glass. Oy, galing naman, ha? Talagang malakas uminom, no? Siguro. Nagpapahalata ka niya, ha? Ayan, so okay. Hindi, pero maganda ang wine, di ba? Pasips. Ako kasi malakas ako uminom, attorney. Nagagalit yung partner ko when we go, let's say, eating, no? Dinner, whatever. Malakas ako mag-wine. Yung ibig sabihin, parang tinutungga ko. Kasi ang purpose ko, kaya ako tinutungga ko agad. Kasi yun ang appetizer ko. Pagka hindi ako, when I am already eating o may laman ng tiyan ko, parang hindi ako makakainom. Parang wala na.
Really?
So, yes, I do it. But ikaw ba, when you eat dinner ba, yung parang with chicken or kung yung white wine or red wine, ikaw ba parang nagsisip-sip ka lang habang kumakain ka pa? Ganun? Kasabay ang wine? Do you drink wine ba? Wine person ka ba?
A big alcohol drinker, you know. Sometimes, it's nice to have a little bit of wine so with your meal. Pero usually, ako, I'm very basic sa akin. Tubig.
Really, okay.
Yeah.
Pero may nabasa ko, attorney, na if you drink wine, kunya wine, parang the more wine, a certain parang you drink wine, you're cutting off 1 hour of your life, parang ganun eh. Parang you're shortening your life, no? If you drink ganyan, mga wine, alcohol, no? May nabasa lang ako na I don't know. Alam mo naman yan sa sobrang information explosion sa internet, di ba? Lahat left and right. Ang dami na no? Grabe ngayon. Hindi na kamukha nung araw. Kailangan punta tayo sa library para may malaman lang tayo. Ngayon, hindi na Bukas ka lang ng internet Pati fake news, andyan na, di ba? Kaya ingat kayo.
Tatandaan ko, dati, kung kailangan mong mag-research nga, no? You have to go to the library, no? The many times nga, kung gusto mong mag-aral, kailangan mong libro, and wala sa'yo, then absolutely, you go to the library. Otherwise, you have to buy it. You would have at most nga, five books to be going through. Ngayon, gosh, you have the internet.
Sa USD ako noon, nag-aaral kasi ako sa USD ng college ko. Sakit na ng kamay ko kasi dalawang two ways Either you pa-Xerox mo, uwi mo, pero gagastos ka. Di ba? Pero kami Xerox nandun dahil mas production ko ba kumbaga kaya parang malabo, di ba? Hindi masyadong kumbaga yung cheap na ink ang ginagamit para lang or magpagod ka, masakit yung kamay mo, yung mag-research ka, no? Those were the days na kaya nga parang naiinggit ako doon sa mga pinanganak sa panahon na ito dahil wala, may na sila, no? Ang library mo na lang si Google di ba? Ang si YouTube, di ba? Gusto mo matuto, no? University of YouTube. Okay, si Nia, no? Yes. Yes, si Nia, okay. Yes. Oh, sorry, attorney, as you were saying?
No, I was just saying, you also find, Sonny, I find I can typing, no? And especially mga bata ngayon, sanay silang typing. But I also find I type more, no, rather than write. And my handwriting is bad anyway. But ngayon, ang baga ko ng, to write because you just typing all the time, no? Nakakalimutan mong, because
pero inabot mo ba yung typewriter na yung ginaganong-ganon mo pa na pagka nagkamali ka, kukuha ka ng kulay puti na i-retype. Kunyari, F nagkamali. O itututok mo ganon sa yung kulay puti na ganon. Pak! O, di ba? Para ulitin, di ba? Grab. Tapos, ba? Gana. Pagka sa ending, tapos kailangan, di ba? Andun mo na i-adjust yung single space, double single space, double space. Nako.
Oo. Saka kung nagkamali ka, wala ka yung puti, you had to go back and do XXX. Tatanda mo? To take
hindi
out
ko naman
the word.
Nabibili ako ng yung parang, di ba, may dinidip mong ganon, tapos ink, parang liquid, gaganyan-ganyan mo ganon sa nagkamali ka, di ba? Hindi ko na yung X, kasi sa akin, pagka tinype ko, nagkamali, either yung parang white na, para chalky na paper, na papatungan mo ulit, you will have to redo the same letter, di ba? Para matakpan. And then, type ko na uli. Pero it was a lot of hassle kasi may mga carbon copy, di ba? Di ba magka-carbon copy ka pang gano'n. Tapos nung araw, di ba? I don't know kung ngayon, ang test pa rin ng mga bata sa Pilipinas yung ano ba pangalan nun? Ano ba pangalan, attorney? Yung dinadaan sa yun Yung test paper nyo, may bibiling ka na na ita-type mo muna doon yung questions mo o yung whatever yung test mo. Tapos idadaan mo sa yun Yung gagawa ng maraming nakalimutan ko. Do you know what? Yung kunyari, if the teacher will do a test siguro, ganon. Tapos idadaan sa yun Parang may nabibiling ka na, duplicator yun Stencil. Stencil.
Yeah, like newspapers.
Parang newsprint yun pero you will have to buy the stencil paper yata, and then you will type there whatever you want, and then you will go to a stencil ba yata yun? Baka alam ng mga listener, mga viewers natin kung inabot niyo yun, no? Yung mga test papers natin ng araw sa Pilipinas, ganun, naka-stencil yun Stencil, bibili ka. Kasi naging professor din ako. I don't know if you know this. Sa Pilipinas kasi professor ang tawag Pero, nagturo kasi ako ng broadcast classes sa UE at saka sa Dominican College. So ginagaya ko yung mga kapwa kong faculty members. Meron silang, yung mga test questions nila, mga 3 years, 4 years. Lalabas lang nila doon sa mga locker namin. Tapos papaprint lang nila yung mga stencil. Nakabuo na yung dating stencil. Doon ako natuto
Oo,
gumawa ng stencil. Nag-stencil na rin ako. Itatype mo sa tapos you will have to go to ayaw ko kung anong pangalan nun. Tapos bibigay mo na yung on the day itself. So, i-staple lahat yun. Kung 4 pages yung exam mo, di-distribute sa klase yun. Ganun.
did you enjoy it?
Oh, yes, because I was just playing with my students. Well, playing in the sense that I was having fun. I was teaching them. I was not too bookish because we were using this textbook, US textbook na hindi applicable sa local setting. So I would have my own, my own take, my actual what's really happening in the real broadcast world, no? Kung ano yung limitations ng gamit natin compared to the US equipment. Siyempre, the author probably who prepared the book, talagang nag-research siya ng mga top of the line na equipment which are not available in the Philippines. So I have to tell them what we do in the actual world. Ang gagawin ko, punta lang ako sa bintana, and then kasi basically broadcasting is being able to articulate anything. Diba? When somebody reports on a live event, diba? They have to just be glib and articulate in explaining what's happening. Diba? Mga kaibigan, narito tayo sa ikalawang palapag ng ganyan at nilalamo ng apoy ay ikalawang palapag, gano'n. Dumarating ang mga kagawad ng pamatay sunog, kakapanayamin natin ang chief fire, ganyan. Magandang gabi. So it's more of just talking and Kabuka na ginagawa natin. You're communicating. You were telling us about these appeals, no? Yung sa ating things to do, no? So ayan. So basically I enjoyed it. No? I was having fun actually. And some of my students are still saying hi to me, no? Yung aking mga estudyante nung araw.
Oh, that's nice, no?
Oh, yeah, sila meron ako mga estudyante, mga naging broadcaster, like for example si Mike Boricano, no? He's the voice of ABC 5 of Channel 5, no? And one of my students pangalan to, si Brian Ligsay, he's a director, mga voice-overs, he can do so many voices sa Pilipinas, no? And mga 4 or 5 mga DJs that were mentored by me, no? And they were so proud and glad na I was the one who taught them, no? Ayan, teka muna. Good evening, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lira watching from Exeter, Devon. Si May Tigbao Vargas. Ayan.
Hello, Ms. Vargas.
Si Miss Vargas. Si Joefely, sino yan, Attorney? Si Joefely.
Joefely, sabi niya, good evening, happy watching and happy Thursday, everyone. With a little heart emoji, which is nice.
Oo. Yes. May question dito, Attorney, para ipasok ko lang isang question dito. May nakikita akong question si Lydia Loner to, no? Hindi kasi lumabas dito sa ating minsan kasi na-skip yung ating the picker that we have, nag-skip So pasensya na yung mga pag hindi ho nabasa yung inyong message, ibig sabihin ho nun na-skip lang ho. Pero dito sa may Facebook mismo, binabasa ko na. Ang father is British passport at ang baby ipinanganak sa Pinas. Pwede po bang mag-apply ng British passport sa Pilipinas? Siguro sa Pilipinas. O dito niya, asama. Ang father is British passport at ang baby pinanganak sa Pinas. Hindi ka, attorney, may mga cases to ng halimbawa. Di ba, probably the British guy went to the Philippines, nakabuntis. Okay, nakabuntis. Dahil siguro, professing his love to the woman thinking that the guy would, it would be her ticket, to be realistic, ticket to go to abroad, no? To come to the UK. Nabuntis, halimbawa. Yung guy hasn't got the necessary 18,000, in short, he couldn't get the girl. Di ba? Hindi niya makuha at lahat, no? Maski pakasalan yata niya, hindi makuha. Yung bang anak na yun, pwedeng magkaroon ng British passport yung mga ganon?
Yeah, it's a possibility. It depends really on a number of things. So, for example, are the parents say married? If they're not married, there's still possibility, no? Pero importante nga din, because sometimes the mom is married to someone else. Tapos they broke up and then is together then with the boyfriend, no? So there actually it's quite complex because under nationality law, no, the first husband, who's not the biological father, was deemed, actually there's a new case that says differently, was deemed to be the father or deemed to be the father of the child, no? Which of course doesn't help the case, no? But the answer to your question is no, absolutely. There's a real possibility. But I would need to know are the parents married, for example?
Kung
when
hindi
was the
married.
child
So
born?
you said kung married o hindi. So let's say kung hindi married. Kung married muna. Kung married, is it a stronger case? Does it merit
Yes.
itong mga application for... Well, sige, go ahead, attorney.
Yeah, but it also depends on kung bata nga lang kukunin mo nga dito, for example, or is the mother coming. So, but if you have facts, sino bang nag-email sa atin? Sino?
Then nag-message lang si Lydia. The father, actually very very bare yung kanya sinabi. The father is British passport at ang baby
Opo.
ipinanganak sa Pinas. Pwede po bang mag-apply ng British passport? Hindi malinaw. Pwedeng, kunyari, di ba, may ganun, may mga loko-loko na mga Briton na may binubuntisan lang o kaya gina-girlfriend ng mga Pinay. Tapos, hindi ko alam kung dito yon o sa Netherlands. May case na ganun na mga Pilipina taking advantage, no? Okay, so a situation halimbawa, attorney.
Sylvia, ito. So, yes, absolutely, there's a possibility nga. Pero kung if this is your case o kaibigan mo nga, if you want to just email me the facts, so kailangan ko please malaman
kulang pa
anak yung bata, yeah, where are the parties essentially married, is the father, for example, in the United Kingdom, British, but in the UK. So all those things, it's a bit more complex, no? And so I'll need to know a little bit more about the facts. So if you email me, please, the facts, I'll email you back with answers, because it depends.
Okay. Kung mag-asawa sila, attorney, 'di ba? Pinakasalan, pero hindi nila makukuha because yung hindi pumasok sa 18,600 ba? Ano yung ating 'di ba? Requirement?
Yeah,
so
1,600.
frustrating, 'di ba? Hindi matutuloy. Pero yun nga, kasal sila. Pinakasalan ni lalaki. Yun ang the first scenario. Nanganak. Pwede ba mag-apply nga ng British passport yung bata? Sabi mo, pwede yata? Pwede ba?
Yeah.
So, yan,
So,
a-applyan sa Pilipinas.
yeah,
A-applyan sa Pilipinas yan. Oo. Pag na-refuse, nare-refuse ba ang passport? Hindi. Pag let's say na-refuse, pwede bang i-appeal yan? Mga ganun ba? O hindi rin.
not in the same way nga, no? Not in the same way. So, with those cases, usually you would need to apply for what's called administrative review, no? So it's not an appeal in the same way as or judicial review. It depends on ng kaso.
Administrative
So,
review ang tawag.
yeah, could be administrative review or judicial review, for example. So there's not it's not an appeal in the same way na pinag-uusapan natin nga kanina. But yeah, so if you're coming in, so if you're British nga, you're coming into Kingdom or you want to bring your family, if the spouse income limit remain at £18,600. Okay, so and then it's complicated. The case is then complicated a bit if you have a child who can come in, for example, as a British citizen. So you're applying for the child to be effectively registered as British. So when you can depends really on the facts now of the case. So Sylvia, I'm happy to help. And
Lydia.
Oh, sorry, Lydia.
Yes,
So,
Lydia.
yeah, email me. No,
Teka
you
muna,
don't have to-
ilagay natin yung email. Teka muna, ilabas natin yung email mo at kailangan Ayan, yan ang email. Diyan ho, email, no? Diyan ka rin mag-email, Rudy, pagka hindi mo pa natanggap sa Monday.
Yeah, no, you don't need to email me, Rudy, because I've already sent it.
Okay.
Yung
Naipadala.
voucher. Pinadala ko na.
Oo. Ang problema lang nito, baka matagalan lang kung yung sinasabi, baka yung postman mag-swim sa, 'di ba? Yun lang pasensya ka na pag naglumangoy na lang. Pag sabi niya imbis na ipadala by airmail to, magsiswimming siya magmula sa England papunta ng Northern Ireland. Yeah, but yan. So for Lydia, Lydia baka for detalye nung case no. So yan, pwede ka niya mag-email. So okay.
Yeah.
Pero attorney, teka muna, sabi mo bringing the family, pero hindi pinag-uusapan lang is yes, for example, married. Okay, he cannot get yung British, hindi niya makuha yung family. Pero yung bata, no, pwede talaga mag-apply ng British passport.
Yeah,
Basta kinilala niya, basta kinilala na that's my son. Lalagay sa birth certificate yun, di ba? The father, ganyan.
It depends very much now on the facts of the case, because they're just it's just quite complex nga. So hindi nga but it also depends on the mother coming, no, or the father coming if it's the other way around. So best really there, you may have two jurisdictions, or rather two separate laws. So you may have the nationality law, which is to do now with registration of a child as British, and then you have the immigration rules, okay, para sa nanay, to enter the United Kingdom as a spouse. You can of course mix the two, but of course there's separate applications. Yeah, so just be careful. Yeah? And the good thing also, if the child's coming in as British, then it's 18,600, and they make not the 2,400, which is a higher amount, because of course the child is British already. No?
Child is British already pag nakuha yung passport.
Kung British na yung bata, they don't need to add to the income requirement, which is kung nanay at saka may isang anak, it becomes 22,400. But if the child is coming in because he or she is already, they're not taking into account.
Pero ang situation dito, attorney, parang binabasa ko lang to, baka hindi makakarating yung nanay. Parang siguro, let's say, nabuntis halimbawa. Okay, now the second scenario. One is the married talaga sila, pinakasalan nung British, be it a man or a woman, na pinakasalan yung nasa Pilipinas. Pero most likely, mga babae na sa Pilipinas, doon mga anak naiiwan yung anak So, kung hindi kasal, kung naanakan lang ang babae, can that woman or can that child apply for a British passport?
Potentially, also.
Both ways. Okay.
But they may well want, and I've had this also, they may well want evidence nga of the paternity. No, so you may have to have also a paternity test. Now, also actually on to do with children, there's some, pinag-usapan natin to last week, no? If you're doing an appeal, just going back now to the appeal, if you're doing an appeal, then you need to also make reference to, importante nga to what I was saying before, the Section 55, no, of the BCIA. So that's the best interest of a child, yeah? So if you have an appeal now coming up, yeah, huwag niyong kalimutan, that's the Section 55 requirement, because ang kaso niyo, sasabihin niyo nga sa judge, look, the Home Office had to and failed to take into account the child's best interest as required.
Ito yung human rights ba? Ito ba yung human rights? Ito ba yung human rights? Hindi pa rin to?
Yeah, iba po.
Okay.
It's a different provision altogether. And I see this relatively regularly, unfortunately, na it's not actually noted. No, it's not raised. So you must make sure where the child is living in the United Kingdom. So it's a relevant child, that you raise it as an issue. Yung Section 55. It's quite a strong factor in your case. So huwag niyong kalimutan, especially if you have an appeal ongoing now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Attorney, ito, may question na may question. Teka lang, mag-break lang muna ako saglit. Mag-break lang ako. It has to do also with more or less itong pinag-uusapan natin about obtaining a passport for a child back home in the Philippines.
Sure.
Mag-break lang tayo saglit. Mag-break lang ho tayo. Wag ho kayo alis, mga kaibigan, mag-break lang ho tayo saglit.
Putin Forwarding International. We are one of the pioneers in the Balikbayan Box freight service in the UK. Trusted, Highly recommended and the top choice of the first OFWs coming over and generations after. With over 25 years of service to the community, we've been delivering cargo boxes throughout the UK and the Philippines. For our special promos and cargo rates, call 0208-520-6435 or 0208-509-1434 or visit our website at www.putenforwardinginternational.com. Putin Forwarding International, your family's favorite forwarder for over 25 years and still going on strong. Putin Forwarding International, a proud member of the British International Freight Association.
Tapos na niluluto mo ah. Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, tuloy-tuloy ho tayo sa ating program. Ayan. Once again, pinapaalala ko lang, attorney, sa kanila lang yung ating ongoing promotion ho ng World Remit, no? Pangkabuhayan packages ho yan, worth 200,000 pesos each. All you have to do is simply just send, magpadala lang ng inyong mga, pag nagpapadala kayo sa Pilipinas, remittances nyo, no? Ayan. 200,000 pesos, 10 ang pamimigay, so that's 2 million all in all, no? Meron ka ng bigas on franchise, meron ka na ring bill payment business. All you have to do is send money to the Philippines, no? And register and enter your details dyan sa page ho na yan. Ayan, hanapin nyo lang ho sa SONNY LARAGAN, no? Win 200,000 pesos worth of Grain Smart Pangkabuhayan. Okidoki, ayan. Alright, so attorney, may isa pang variation yan, no? Yung father, may mga British children, lalaki at babae, malalaki na, mga adults na. Yung father nila nakabuntis sa Pilipinas, so merong naging parang partner, so ganun. So nagkaanak, mga 2, 3 yata. Namatay na yung father. Namatay yata ng cancer. Cancer of all the cancer, doon pa sa cancer sa dila, yung sa dila, may cancer pala sa dila, no? Oo. Anyway, the question is, itong mga kapatid, malalaki na, so lumalabas mga half sister or half brother nila yung mga nasa Pilipinas. So itong nandito na adult, na mga British, babae at lalaki, can they get those kids? Siyempre, we wanna help these kids and ganyan-ganyan. Can they get those kids? Pwede mong gawa ng paraan yan? Kailangan yung tatay talaga ang kailangan. Hindi direct. They're not direct. So ganun ang kwento. Yung mga kapatid ay yung mga anak nung namatay. Namatay na tatay nila. Pero yung tatay nila may partner sa Pilipinas, nakaanak na 2. Gustong tulungan itong mga nasa UK. Babae, lalaki, malalaki na. Siguro 30 years old na, o 35 or 40. They want to get the kids. Pwede ba?
Yeah. Magkakaproblema. Well, there are possibilities, pero mahihirapan nga sila. Ang unang titingnan nung home office is nasang nanay, no? Kung nanay nasa Pilipinas, buhay and healthy, then they would say, well, why would their children come into the UK?
Namatay pala. Attorney, namatay, sorry, hindi ko nabanggit. Namatay yung nanay. Namatay ng nanay yata, nanganak doon sa third baby with the same guy. So more or less, parang lumalabas yata, naging 3 ang anak ng mga mistiso, siyempre, dahil mistiso, British yung lalaki. So namatay pala. I'm sorry, hindi ko nabanggit yan. Namatay.
So at saka yung
nanay
tatay
namatay sa
na.
childbirth of the third child with the father of these 2 adults na British citizens. Now,
Pero
namatay nanay sa childbirth. Doon sa ikatlo yata.
So both parents nanay at saka tatay.
Patay na. Yung tatay. Yung lalaki na umuwi na rito sa Pilipinas dahil wala ng pera. Dahil kailangan, pagka, di ba, makakakuha siya ng konting, ano ba tag dito? Nasa mga 60s towards 70s na ang edad nung mamatay. At sa cancer nga sa dila, Yun, patay pareho. Ngayon, gusto tumulong itong mga kapatid na mga half-brother, half-sister na British.
Pero yung tatay,
ba?
British ba?
British yung father,
tatay, British.
British yung father.
So in that case, this, in fact, ang ginawa ko in the break, I thought I can quote you the actual law as it's noted here. So, ito, this is actually on the government website. So, if you were born on or after the 1st of July 2006, you're automatically a British citizen if you were born outside the UK, and all of the following apply. So, lista natin.
Okay.
So, unang-una, you're born on or after the 1st of July 2006. Your mother or father was a British citizen when you were born. Then, your British parent could pass their citizenship nga to you. Right? So, in that case, yung kaso mo, kung British nga yung tatay, and at the time of the child's birth, he was already, the child was, sorry, if at the time of the child's birth, yung tatay nga British na, then under this, the father can then pass on his citizenship dun sa mga bata. So, that is of course separate from the fact that the half siblings or the siblings nandito, the adult siblings, want to help. So there, they may need to actually firstly tingnan nila the rules to do with nationality, under the British Nationality Act, rather than say immigration rules. Dahil of course makakapasok nga yung mga bata dito sa British, then that would probably be better. Not least, of course, it's a simpler process potentially, and also it's also a cheaper application to make. So yeah, so the answer is tignan niyo muna nationality law as I've noted there, okay?
Nationality law saan? Dito sa atin?
Dito po, yeah, British Nationality Act. So it's nationality law rather than say the immigration rules. So lista nga natin ulit. The following apply. You're born
or after 2006.
Opo. 1st of July 2006. Your mother or father was a British citizen when you were born. Okay? Yeah? So
bago ba yan? Bago ba yan? Attorney, bagong batas ba yan?
No.
Sabi mo, after 2006, parang kind of recent. So, lumalabas siya kung 14 years old, ganun, more or less.
Yeah, 15? So I mean, we're 2020 now, so it's not new in that sense. So and then so the main, I suppose there, apart from the date now, 2006, you need to ask yourself, okay, was your mother or your father at the time you were born a British na? So for example, it would not apply. Sabihin natin yung nanay o tatay is was when you were born domestic worker, sabihin natin. Okay? Tapos later on, they become British. Yeah? So at the time of your birth, they were not British. In which case, kung ganon, then this can't apply. So at the time of your birth, kailangan pakita, at that point, they're already, your parent, mother or father, was already British.
Ngayon, say for example, who would now initiate this? Patay ang tatay, patay ang nanay. Who would initiate this on their behalf?
Well, in their case, yung mga kapatid nga nila, they want to make, they want to help, and as I say, they can certainly help by looking into the nationality law, no? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is absolutely a possibility.
So okay pala yung chances pala ng mga bata na yung naipapanganak sa Pilipinas, no? I mean, kung British ang father,
at the time of birth.
Yes, at the time of birth. So anything from 2006 onwards, minsan nagiging hope na ng mga okay, ganito ang scenario, attorney. Pinanganak ng 2006 Di ngayon, mga 14 years old. Tama? 14 years
Opo.
old. Nakakuha ng citizenship, British citizenship, may British passport. Yan bang bata, pwede siyang, I don't know, pumunta sa UK? Or kunyari, kung 20 na siya, let's say 20 na, sabihin na lang natin, may edad na, alam, matalino na siguro, pumunta sa UK dahil may British passport, kukunin na niya nanay niya, is that a possibility?
Yeah, that goes back then to immigration rules rather than nationality laws, no? So there, you go back to the same thing pinag-usapan natin. I think,
Dependent na
last
nanay
week.
niya. Hindi naman dependent. How
Yeah.
will that happen? Pwede ba yan?
Adult dependent route.
Oo. Pero mahirap yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Sabi mo, adult dependent route. Yung ba yung over 65, di ba? Mahirap yun eh. So what realistically can they do in this situation? The reality is hoping na makapunta yung babae rito na buntis ng anak. Si anak ngayon, by virtue of kunyari itong 2006 baka makapunta sa abroad. Siya ang magkukuha sa nanay niya. Posible ba? O wala, malabo yun. Mahirap yun.
Well, possibly, of course, pero yung nga, it's not, it can be complex dahil you're looking potentially at this adult dependent route. No? Now, what you could also do, kung bata pa nga yung bata, no? Kailangan may mag-alaga nga dito and wants to come into the United Kingdom because that child, in fact, is British, no? Then, absolutely, they should make an application for, of course, the mother to come into the UK on the basis na kailangan siyang alagaan, na the child needs to be cared for by someone here. Pero kung may edad na nga, 20 na, then you have to revert back to the usual immigration rules. And they would be, kung nandito, so sabihin natin yung example mo, the child was born, is British, left then the Philippines, nandito na, 20 years old na nga, gusto niyang kunin, o plus, gusto niyang kunin yung nanay because he or she is British. Then they have to revert back to the immigration rules, and immigration rules say, in that case, they need to apply this adult dependent route, no? And that is quite a difficult route to establish. So it's not impossible. I mean, I know that for a fact because I certainly have had clients who have benefited under that rule, but it's just not a straightforward application. Sorry, Sonny, hindi kita marinig.
Sorry, sarado. Okay, sorry. I switched off the microphone. Okay, excuse me. May pagbati dito, no? Si Virginia Smith. Ayan, ito. Sandali, ilabas lang natin, ha? Attorney. Okay. Ang sabi niya, Happy Thursday, Kuya Sonny and Attorney Lira. What happens if an appeal is denied? If possible, to ask a motion for reconsideration or petition for review, if to review it again. Ayan. The tribunal can sometimes be a bit of a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid point, but she's making, I think, there a number of points. So if the application is refused, you can absolutely ask for it to be reconsidered. The only problem with doing that is the deadline. No, the deadline is strict, so it's either 14 days or 28 days. In the time that the Home Office will take to reconsider the case, the 14 or 28 days will have passed. No? So it may be that it's better, in fact, to put in the appeal, although, as you say, can be sometimes of a bit like a sledgehammer to crack a nut. But sometimes you have no choice, because otherwise you are barred then, potentially, from pursuing an appeal if the Home Office then decide, actually, we've looked at it, we've reconsidered, or they've looked at it, but we're not going to change our mind, in which case you're kind of stuck. Now, of course, you can, rather than appealing, you can also apply again, if you have that possibility. yung pinag-uusapan natin nga kanina, if you have a child, say, in the Philippines, and the child was, say, 17 when they made the application and will then be 18 soon, then you may not have the time, actually, to make another application. So, because by the time you make another application, overage na siya. So if he's 18 by then you have a problem, because then you go back to yung pinag-usapan natin, the adult dependent route. You don't want that. You want them to come in, of course, during their minority, or apply during their minority. Now, if your appeal is refused, or it's dismissed, I should say, not refused. So you applied, the application was refused, you then appealed against that, and the appeal was then dismissed. You can ask for the tribunal to look at it again. So you can ask for the matter to be for permission to appeal. No, and if you get that permission to appeal, then you can potentially then either go back to the first tier tribunal, or indeed be looked at by the upper tribunal. No, so absolutely, there's a possibility of a reconsideration or just submitting a new application. But just be careful. Kung gagawin nyo yun, the deadline, more likely than not, will have passed by the time they reconsider. And it could be that the application is time sensitive, either because the child is going to be 18 already by that time, or other things. No, so just there are options, but just be careful in exercising those options.
Okay, sige, babati. Ganito gawin natin, attorney, mag-draw na tayo ngayon in a few minutes, kasi tapos i-message nila kung thanking us or whatever. Meron tayong konting pa-premyo lang, Doritos, no? Because we'd like to know kung nanonood sila, kasi kung mamaya nanalo sila tapos wala na pala, nag-message lang, no? So we'll play. Okay, Baseo, let's play a little game now.
Yeah,
attorney?
No, absolutely. But
okay.
It's very likely that if I send now, just because of Christmas post, no, it may be better if I just send the winners some vouchers, because it may get to you faster. Otherwise,
okay. Sige, ganun lang siguro muna. No?
But absolutely,
sige, alika lang naman. Ano lang naman to, hanggang sa ito lang ating itong time lang na to. But yeah, ano lang naman to, parang konting lang. Okay. Sige, para naman magpapasalamat, mababasa natin na talaga nanalo. Ito, pakikita natin sa kanila, attorney, kung sino yung ito. We will do ito na. Ayan, ready na. Okay na, attorney?
Oh.
Ready? Okay? So this will be a, how do you call this? This will be a electronic picking to. We will have to pick. So lahat ng mga nag-message dyan, no, nag-comment, o baka merong problema kaibigan nila, whatever, basta anything, just to say hi and hello. Hindi porke marami kayong comments, we have to eliminate yung maraming comments. The isa lang ang pinipili. Okay. Okay, ito na mag-i-start na tayo. Ready ka na, attorney? Nakikita mo yung start na yan, ha? Nakikita mo yung start. Okay, kiklik ko na, ha? Ready? Ito na, kiklik na ho natin. Sandali lang. Ito na. Ayan, 1, 2, 3. Uy! Nanalo! Oo, si Daisy Esguera, ang message niya, good evening Kuya Sonny, Attorney Lira, and to all the viewers. Ayan. Ayan, so may nanalo tayo. Daisy Esguera, nanalo ka. Katuwaan lang. Hindi naman to big time na katuwaan lang. Little, hindi to don't expect na konting lang na habang nagkukwentuhan lang kami ni attorney at now we're just having fun. Gaya nga na sinabi ni Rudy na it's the winning, it's not the 3 na Doritos. Magkano ba yan? That's 1 pound, lang yan, ganyan, no? Pero 2 pounds lang yan. Pero it's more of nagkatuwaan lang tayo. We're just having fun here. Yun ang essence nun. So si Daisy ang nanalo, Daisy Esguera. Daisy, mag-message ka dyan para alam naming nanonood ka. Kung hindi, magdodraw uli kami kasi we can pick another winner. So, ayan. Mag-message ka lang kagad dyan. In the meantime, ipasok ko lang yung some of the messages dito. No? Teka muna. Okay, si Edgardo Kagahas dyan. Ayan, si Edgardo, paanihin natin, no? para naman ma-acknowledge yung kanyang pagbati. Sabi niya, good evening Kuya Sonny and Attorney Lira. Happy Thursday to everyone. No? Edgardo Cagahasjan Enriquez. Yeah, kita mo naman yung, ano ba yan? Parang Daniel Boone na kanyang nasa ulo niya. No? Si John Rocacurva, ito, bumati sa atin. Sabi, John Rocacurva said, good evening Sir Sonny. From John Rocacurva. Mabuhay, no? Wait, Kit Tupas! Kit! Yung kaibigan natin si Kit Tupas. Asa na ba? Ba't hindi pumasok yung kay Kit Tupas? Kit Tupas. Ayan, taga Northern Ireland. Kaibigan natin yan. He's a very, very good friend of ours. Kit, mabuhay Mabuhay. Mabuhay ka.
Yeah. Happy Thursday po.
Happy Thursday. Oh, si Kit Tupas. Parang ambassador yan pag nakita mo, attorney, no?
Yeah.
Kit, MM Giling. Nako, si Giling, MM Giling. Hi, good evening po. Happy Thursday po, Sir Sonny and Ma'am. Hope to see you soon. Oh, yeah. Sana medyo, sana maganda tong yung ating, ano pangalan to? Yung ating vaccine niyo, no? At makatulong talaga, no? Maayos na yan, para okay na tayo lahat. Wala nang problema. Ay, siya nga pala. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, attorney.
I'm trying to persuade Miss Giling to say hello in person nga, ano? But she's resisting. She's so lovely.
Okay. Teka muna. Attorney, pag in a few minutes, pag hindi pa nag-acknowledge ng message si Daisy, shall we go for another round of What do you think?
Well,
okay na yan?
maybe on this occasion, bigay natin sa kanya, no?
Sige.
We have to give them notice now. So next week, if you don't message, then it goes back. We have to raffle nga again. Because Mrs. Guerra naman, it may not be very fair otherwise.
Na regular din kasi mas maganda rin kasi yung talagang nandiyan sila nanonood, no? Talagang yeah. But I'm sure andiyan sila nanonood. But anyway, sige, we'll wait for her baka she can still say hi, hello. Leonila de la Cruz, may tanong dito, attorney, no? Si Leonila de la Cruz, ito pahabol ko lang na question sa iyo. Sabi niya, what if the child born here then left in Manila? The child now is 10 years old. Is there any chance the child makabalik dito, the mother overstaying?
Okay, so the facts are, dito pinanganak yung bata. Pero ang nanay niya, nung pinanganak siya, either short visa o overstayer na. Ibinalik yung bata sa atin, no? So nasa Maynila nga ngayon. Yung bata, 10 years old na. Pwede bang, may chance ba na maibalik dito yung bata? Wala nang status yung nanay. So I think that's the scenario nga, no? Unfortunately, problem there. Dahil kailangan nilang unang gawin, they need to fix the mother's status first, no? Because although the child was born in the UK, kung yung nanay at the time, and okay, we don't know what happened to the father, pero kung nanay at the time was either an overstayer or limited leave to remain, then of course yung bata hindi British. So the interesting thing here is yung 10 years old. So sadly, if the child was born here, tapos dito na nga tumira, natagalan nga dito, tapos 10 taon na, under the current rules, even though the child was born in, because the child was born in the UK, but did not leave the UK, has continuously stayed in the United Kingdom, and is now reached the age of 10, under the current rules, pwede na siya magpasok ng application for registration and then become British. So, sayang nga lang. But the child is now in the Philippines, kahit nga pinanganak nga dito, that child will not be able to take advantage of the 10-year route to deal with children, unfortunately.
Attorney, di ba makukure yan nung kamukha nung pagtatay, Briton? It's the same case nung nasa Pilipinas na anakan. Yun nga, yung sinasabi nung kanina si Lydia. Sabi niya, hindi po sila kasal. So, nabuntis yung Pilipina, tapos ang nakabuntis British. Pero sinasabi mo kanina sa nationality ng British passport, hindi ba mag-a-apply dito sa bata na yan at dito na nga siya pinanganak sa UK? Baka dito pa siya nakakuha ng birth certificate. So nasa Pilipinas siya, punta lang siya sa British Embassy, present niya yung... Ang bata ba, pag pinanganak dito, may birth certificate dito?
Yeah, may birth certificate siya dito.
Hindi ba malakas na ebidensya yun? Is it not a strong evidence that the child somehow was fathered by a British guy and then went home to the Philippines and has... Diba?
Well, if the birth certificate shows nga the father's name, no? And the father's name and the father is, say sabihin natin John Smith, no? It does not on its own mean that John Smith is actually British. So you have to somehow trace John Smith, okay? And if John Smith actually is British, then actually, the child born in the United Kingdom, kahit nga bumalik siya sa Pinas, UK, born to the father who is British, then that child would be entitled to British citizenship. No? So you have to establish nga the father's status. The birth certificate on its own does not mean the father, does not show, would not be enough evidence nga to show that the father was British at the time of entry. So on the birth certificate dito, nandun nga lang pangalan. It does, they will need more than that, put it that way.
Okay. Medyo masalimuot yan, ha? Si Glo Marie Rose Cancino Martinez, sabi niya, ako din po, Ma'am Lira, di ba nanalo din ako noon ng hindi burrito sa Doritos. But okay lang po. Actually, kinukulit ko siya. I think I messaged si Glo. Oy, Glo, nanalo ka. Ba't hindi mo pa binibigay something like that? Yung address, sumulat ka na. Sabi niya, hindi na ho, wag na ho. Hindi ko na, wag na po. Sabi niya. Hindi, sabi niya, wag na raw. But okay lang po. May nagsabi sa akin, I think it was Glo Marie who said, Sir Sonny, wag ho. Okay lang ho yun. Walang ano lang yun. Parang, na tiyempo lang na ano. So,
pero it's just a little bit of fun. So, give me your address, no? Padala mo.
Mas mayaman pa yata sa atin si Glo Marie, attorney. Sige. Well, Glo, sabi mo lang kung okay lang, ha? Si attorney okay naman. Pero sabi mo, wag na lang daw pa. Alam ko, si Glo yung nakausap ko nung nag-usap kami, nag-message yata, sabi ko, hindi ho, Sir Sonny, okay lang ho. Wag ganun lang, parang But, so, yeah, anyway, no? So ayan, si Norma Santiago, ito bumabati lang sa atin. Good evening po. Ayan, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lira, no?
Hello. Kilala ko siya.
Okay. Oh yeah, so yan, nakakatuwa yung mga ating mga ano. But anyway, so tonight, no, we have a winner sa ating ano. Yeah, okay. So okay na yun, no? Si Daisy Esguerra. Daisy, no, baka yung mga kaibigan niya na nanonood, pakisabi na lang si Daisy ang nanalo nung ano, ito. Ayan, ito siya, no. Ayan, ito yung ating pick a random winner. So we picked a winner and she's none other than Daisy Esguerra. Yan, bumati siya. Good evening, Kuya Sonny. Ayan. Attorney Lira and to all the viewers. Ayun. Alright, so yan, nakikita niyo yung message, no? Nakakatuwa naman, no? You can see the message, kung ano yung message na na-pick natin. So, thank you very much. Mabuhay. Okay, well, napasarap ng kwentuhan natin, attorney, ha? Inabot tayo ng no? Oo. Yeah, okay. So, ito yung mga messages. Baka may mga pahabol pa rito, inaano ko lang para, kasi yung bang nagsarado na yung, nag-close shop na tayo, biglang may message pala na, no?
I should also say, look,
attorney,
kung meron kayong mga tanong, no? Mga topic, o kung meron kayong mga topic, para sa inyo, kaibigan nyo nga, no? O kamag-anak, that you want us to discuss, no, for the immigration corner. Please, feel free, give me some ideas nga.
Because, ano natin yan.
Yeah. Then, as I say, last week, I got nga, like an observation, no, a kind of inquiry. Sabi niya, pwede ba, of course, importante nga yung batas, but is it possible to have, practical tips, no? And I think I would say it's a very good idea, very good question. Why yung topic natin ngayon, I've mainly dealt with practical tips because it's equally as important as knowing, of course, the law. No, so yeah, feel free, please. Give me suggestions. Kung ano man, and I'm more than happy certainly to deal with them.
Okay. Alright, tama yun. Siyempre, kayo, it's kayo ho. Kayo ang we're serving you. Ito yung public service natin la attorney dito. Pinag-uusapan lang natin. Ayan. But if you have to, siyempre, need more information and somebody to work on your cases, halimbawa, siyempre, andyan na ho si Attorney Lira, no? Siyempre. Okay, si Rowena, ito may message, hindi lumabas sa sa speaker sa natin. Pero binabasa ko, sabi niya, good evening po, Attorney Lira. Paano mo malakihay nag-advise sa inyo about asylum? Hindi ko naintindihan to. Rowena, hindi ko maintindihan yung tanong mo, pero binabasa ko lang as good evening po, Attorney Lira, paano mo parang malachi, hi, nag-advise sa inyo about asylum. Ayaw ko, no? Rowena Fernandez Gonzalez. Rowena, hindi ko na maintindihan yung question mo, ha? So, pasensya na, ha? I don't know kung naintindihan mo, Attorney, no? Yeah, watching from Shrewsbury. Sabi ni Lydia, sana manalo ako ng Doritos. Uy, manood kayo sa Sabado, ha? Sabado panalo, we're giving away 3,000 pesos. Magiging siguro 4,000, magiging 5,000 pesos yan. Sa Christmas Day, pamimigay ko siguro mga 3 or 4, 5,000 pesos, no? Pati sa 19, 26, and no? So, manood ho kayo. Tell your friends about it, no? Nananalo sila, Attorney, dito. Open sa buong Europe to, and the recipients are their families back home sa Pilipinas.
That's lovely. Yeah, at Christmas time, no?
Well, I started giving out these prizes, mga 3,000, 2,500, 3,000 pesos. Meron tayong mga 3 winners sometimes, no? So, on the 17th of October yata, we started that, no? So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Okay, well, we're looking at some of the mga questions. So, okay na. Email nyo na si Attorney pag may mga additional questions kayo, yung mga paglilinaw ninyo, no? Oo, kasi
So if we didn't get a chance nga to to deal with your questions, kupable na nga lang, unfortunately, we have limited time. Just send it nga to this, email ko, yung kabatbat@douglas-simon.com, Douglas with 2S.
Double S,
Kung pwede po, lagay niyo yung telephone number niyo, because sometimes it's easier for me nga to just call you, okay? And then, rather than email. Sometimes the questions are would require quite a lot more discussion. So it is better just for us to speak. Kung gusto niyo i-email sa akin yung Tagalog, hindi din po problema.
Oo, syempre. Mas okay lang. Mas ka-Taglish, no? Okay lang yan. Basta ang importante, you send the message. Mas malinaw niyong maipaliwanag yung concern or issue or problem or query, para mas maliwanag. Yan ang importante naman. That's communication naman. Hindi naman natin yan eh. Pero kung ibang lahi, magiging tayo noon. Magkakaroon ng mahirap ipaliwanag, no?
For those viewers who don't speak Tagalog, I know you're absolutely welcome also, of course, to just email me and note your telephone number. I'll do the same. So when I have the question, if it's more complex than my typing allows, I'll give you a call. Happy to assist.
Okay, well, ayan, si Leonila Cruz, no? Sabi niya, thanks Sonny and Attorney Lira, what a helpful helping topple tonight. Sabi niya, and ayan, blessed you both, have a blessed Christmas to all. Yes. Oh yeah, same to you, no? Same to you. Okay, well, Attorney, baka may mga magpapaalam na tayo, messages or shout-outs or anything you'd like to say, and in closing, magpaalam na tayo. Sige, Attorney.
Yeah, I mean, just to say thank you for continuing to watch. I mean, it truly is. I know I say this all the time, and I truly mean it. It is Happy Thursday for me because I so enjoy the show, because we have people who are watching, asking questions, and I equally learn from it. So thank you for tuning in nga. But truly, kung meron kayong questions, the topics that we want us to deal with, email. And anyway, kung meron kayong questions, nahihiya nga lang kayo, then again, just email me. But please leave your telephone number so I can give you a call. Sometimes it's just easier rather than me typing something, But yeah, so it's next week. I mean, I think we'll probably talk about overstayers and the topic of overstayers and application and then refusal and then appeal. We'll probably dealt with it now. So next week, let's think of another topic, and I'm open to suggestions. So please email me, with suggestions for a topic. And I will obviously endeavor to deal with it all.
Yan. Okay. So, ayan narinig nyo from attorney. Or if you have questions, siguro from those questions na nasa isip yun ninyo, then we could probably formulate create the topic, the discussion around those or those chosen na mapipili. So yeah, well I guess maraming salamat. First of all, congratulate natin si Daisy Esguerra lang Ito konting katuwaan lang na it's not really a big no. Pero just a little something lang. So Daisy Esguerra, congratulations. Sabi niya, good evening Kuya Sonny, Attorney Lira, and to all the viewers. Okidoki. Well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Sa ngalan ho ni Attorney Lira Simon CABATBAT, ito po ang inyong kaibigang si Sonny Laragang nagsasabing thank you very much sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay every happy Thursday. Let's make it a habit to make your Thursday happy. So just be here, let's do it again next Thursday, Kita-kita ulit tayo, and let's have a smile on our faces while we discuss issues about immigration. Ayan. And you do your part din para kung meron ho kayong mga kaibigan o kayo mismo, kung nahihiya kayong sabihin yung tunay na either pseudonyms or message nyo lang kay attorney, i-email nyo o i-message nyo rin sa akin. Meron, minsan nasa akin dumarating yung mga questions niyo. So okay lang yan. Ibabato ko itatanong natin sa araw ng Happy Thursday natin na Immigration Corner. So till Thursday then, this is Sonny here and Attorney Lira saying thank you very much. God bless. Keep safe. Stay safe. And have a nice evening, whatever is left of it. Goodbye. Nice. Bye-bye.